So folks, today we are looking at what the Amazing Spider-Man movie could have been, especially with all the villains they were setting up. Sony had some big ideas for this series before it all kind of went sideways with the Amazing Spider-Man 2. One of the ideas they had was to bring new take on Doctor Octopus, also known as Doc Ock, a character a lot of us know and love from the Spider-Man comics, and they were going to make him really different. We got some concept art, early designs from an artist named Eddie Mendoza. He came up with the design for Doc Ock that was meant to look more grounded and military. So if you picture Doc Ock from Spider-Man movies with those big mechanical arms, this is real different. This Doc Ock would have suit and arms that looked more like something out of war movie or even video game. Some more realistic or sci-fi. If you ever seen video game Destiny, it kind of gives out that vibe actually. It was kind of look like this video games that you are playing as a robot in it. It has this kind of vibe. Basically, it was supposed to be a new take on Doc Ock. Now the reason Sony wanted to this design was because they had big plan for Sinister 60, which is a group of Spider-Man's enemies all teamed up. But they wanted these villains to be outfitted by Oscorp, the big tech company in Spider-Man's war. That's why they had Doc Ock's arm looking more like a military career. They wanted the villains in Spider-Man universe to look like all had the same tech style, all coming from Oscorp. You can kind of see what they were going for. In this art, you see this version of Doc Ock in a big mechanical suit with the arms connected to a way that makes him look like a soldier or a guy in high-tech exosuit. If you ever seen the movie, now this wasn't the final design. It's just early idea, but this concept gives us a good idea of what direction they wanted to go with the character. And honestly, I think it's cool some ways, but also a bit too much. I get the idea of trying to make Doc Ock look tougher, more realistic, but it kind of make him less recognizable. But you think of Doc Ock, you think of those unique robotic arms and his kind of mad scientist look, right? Here, he just looks like a soldier with big metal arms. And I think that kind of loses what makes him interesting. So Sony was planning a lot for his Amazing Spider-Man movies. They wanted to do third one, fourth one, and probably more, with all these villains having tech from Oscorp, like a whole army of Oscorp villains. They even planned on making a symbiote, which is usually Venom comes from. The part of Oscorp's experiments, the Rhino, who you see in Amazing Spider-Man 2, had a big mechanical suit, which was also supposed to be a Oscorp tech. And they had planned for Green Goblin's glider and other gear all come from Oscorp too. It's an interesting idea making Oscorp the main source of all the villain gear. It's an interesting idea making Oscorp the main source of all the villains gear, but there's a downside. When you make every villain look similar, it takes away what makes each of them special. Spider-Man has all these unique villains with really different looks and style, and when you start giving them same type of take and look, it makes them less memorable. So yeah, it's fun to look at what the Amazing Spider-Man movies could have done. The concept is interesting, but sometimes the execution just doesn't quite fit. This Doc Ock would have been more of a soldier type, less of the classic mad scientist version that fans are used to. And with all the villains sharing similar tech, it might have taken away some of what made them unique. If you are a fan of Spider-Man, you probably know that part of what makes his villain so interesting is that each one of them is different in their own way. You got Doc Ock with his robotic arms, Green Goblin with his glider, and Venom with the symbiote. They're all different, and that makes Spider-Man's war feel more diverse and exciting. At the end of the day, this design is an interesting piece of Spider-Man's history, a look of what we could have been if Sony had kept going with the Amazing Spider-Man series. It's fun to imagine, but sometimes things work out for the best. We got really memorable Doc Ock in the Spider-Man movies, and it's hard to top that. Plus, the MCU has its own plans, so who knows what we'll see in future. That was a today video. I hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and if I didn't mention anything about this concept art, I'll be happy to hear from you in the comments. See you next time.
What is that?
1300 AD, they called this man the hero from the sky. He was prophesied to have destroyed the evil